Heyo, welcome to Minecraft. My name is Aerington, and today we are in a new creative test world I'm calling Muspelheim. As you can see, I've got my new Viking skin on, as we're going to be attempting our first Viking style build today. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone who watched my first test video and gave feedback in order for me to continue to improve. Speaking of improvements, you should notice a significant lack of villager sounds in this episode. So I've spent some time flying around this world to find the best location for today's build. This high cliff nestled within a spruce forest and overlooking a small inlet off of the sea is exactly what I had in mind. We're going to be building a large A-frame lodge that will overlook the ocean and maybe eventually a small port city filled with Viking ships. And as ships come into that port, my thought is that they will look up and see this lodge and travel the winding cliffside trail up for drinks and merriment. So during this time lapse, I thought I'd take this time to explain some things as well as practice recording my voice. I am working creative for one of the first times. It's not my typical game mode, but one thing I learned in editing the previous time lapse is the importance of having all of your resources gathered before recording a time lapse. This helps avoid cuts in the time-lapse or running off mid-build to get the missing items. Currently, these test episodes are helping me to hone my skills whilst leading up to the first videos to be fully released on this channel. Those videos will be recorded in a survival realm with several friends, and you should be able to spec those within the month. Leading up to this, rather than spending time starting a new survival world, I thought it best to familiarize myself more with the creative side of the game, as well as save time collecting resources, and put that time instead towards practicing my editing, thumbnails, and of course, recording my voice for an audience. I've been playing Minecraft off and on for somewhere around 8 years, but I really wouldn't say I fully got into it until about 2 years ago. This is when I started a realm with my wife and kids. Now, also at this time, I began my first office job in which, as long as I got my work done, I was allowed to watch or listen to YouTube off to the side while I worked. So I would spend my day watching Minecraft Let's Plays and planning out my builds for the evening. It was at this time that I watched a lot of tutorial builds as well as just learned techniques through the Minecraft videos I watched. Over the course of a year and a half, I had created an impressive kingdom that we called Aeris, which I will be sure to tour at some point on this channel. And that pretty much leads up to now. I've talked about starting a channel some in the past, but I would say that this is the first time that I really have the equipment and time needed to give this the best chance for success. That being said, even if no one were to watch, I see this as an opportunity to create an art form that I enjoy and can be proud of, as well as putting it into a format that I can share with my family and friends. I thought it worth mentioning that my previous realm, Aeris, was in the Bedrock edition of the game. I've played both fairly equally, but this will be my first time back in Java after quite some time. So bear with me as I adjust to some of the differences between the two versions, such as the combat. I'm very accustomed to spam clicking with my sword. I'm really excited to explore some of these differences though. For example, farms in Bedrock are very different from that of Java, and things like general mob farms can be near impossible to get good rates. Lastly, I thought I'd explain where the name Aerington came from. When deciding upon a name for my character and channel, I spent a lot of time looking at names used in the works of my favorite author, Jules Verne. I took inspiration from names such as Michael Ardan, Dr. Pierre Aronnax, and Tom Ayrton. From these I landed on the name Aerington. Alright, so here we are down below the lodge now that that's been completed. Off camera I also finished some detailing outside as well as the interiors. I also worked on a road that travels all the way down this cliffside to where we're standing now. And where we're standing now is going to be exactly where I want to place the docks in the little port city here. I don't want to do anything too extravagant at this point other than just a long seaside deck, almost like a boardwalk, with some buildings here, whether they be a little shop, a villager house, or a fisherman's hut. all of which will lead you to this path here, so that people coming in from the sea will stop and want to visit and work their way up the mountain to that beautiful lodge. So over here we've got lighting along the edge of the path. Off to the side here we've got a little shrine, just adding some life to this area. I use that cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, some grass growing off to the side. I even tried this new basalt texture there in the path, which I'm pretty happy with. I think it's crazy to think how far I've come. I know in the first world I ever built, most of my paths were all just cobblestone, 3 wide slabs. It wasn't pretty, but they went a very long ways through that world. So up here we're at the lodge. We've got some hanging lanterns, some bushes growing all over. And inside we've got that dirt flooring, as I'd expect to be in an old-time lodge like this. Or at the very least, just real dirty from everybody tracking it in from outside. We've got what would be some hidden lighting there. It looks like we're missing a piece of carpet. Some armor stands to show the villagers the Vikings were warriors. We've got a kitchen over here with some mugs, some soup or stew, smokers, barrels for fish, some rabbit leg there being cut up for the stew, and some barrels over here for mead. And then we've got a big old meeting table here, banquet hall, and some banners hanging from the ceilings in a style that I learned from I believe it was a Jaracraft video. Quite happy with that. It looks pretty awesome. You can hang them from the ceiling and then turn them to different angles. And then out here we've got our balcony that is going to overlook that little port city. And I'm pretty excited to get this thrown together, so let's get right into it. Alright, and with that we've got our port, our seaside area complete. We'll give a little quick tour here. Forewarning, I haven't completed any of the interiors on these builds as of yet. I just worked on the outside, so we'll go in and finish those up at a later date. We've got lots of storage all over the place here. I like the idea of that it's a port city right near the edge, so they've got cargo going in and out of this place at all times. Here we've got the front of what would likely be a shop front. And over here we've got another one of these A-frame style lodges. Maybe for guests or people that need room and board coming to visit. We've got some little stalls here for shopping, offering different goods and wares from out at sea. We've got nice little, these lampposts going the whole way, lighting up the docks. Then down here we've got the little fisherman's hut. And I did a little more work off camera. I got inspired. I extended this dock down a little ways, right into what would be the very end where the fishermen would actually go down to fish and be at sea level. And with that, it should be the conclusion of the Viking test episode. While I've had a ton of fun putting this episode together, I've unfortunately really struggled through my editing this time. It's for this reason, as well as having a vacation in the coming weeks, that I'm not entirely sure when you can expect the next episode. That's not to say I don't have content in the works though. I'm going to spend this time really studying my editing programs in order to smooth out the process of putting together a new episode, so that when I do return, I can do so in a much more consistent fashion. In the meantime, I want to encourage you to follow my Twitter linked below, as I'm doing my best to make daily posts of my progress, and this will be the best place to post smaller portions of editing test footage and preview new skins. So if you like this video, please leave a like. If you have any opinions on how I can continue to improve, then leave a comment. And if you want to be notified of any new content on my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That's all for now, and I look forward to learning and improving my channel for your entertainment. With that, I'll see you in the next video.